Hello, everyone. Have you ever been in a situation where you're ripping on an outside heel hook and your opponent just doesn't seem to respect you? And then you go look up and see Lachlan Giles and Craig Jones talking about how outside Ashi is a bad position because you get your back taken when you start digging from the heel. And then you even see Lachlan baiting the best grappler in the world to go for an outside heel hook just so he can get to his preferred outside Senkaku position. So if you're interested in learning how to properly apply outside heel hooks to get breaks, please like, please subscribe, and please share this video with someone you would like to practice with. It'd really help out the channel, and let's get into this video. So the goal of this video is to explain how to get breaks with outside heel hooks, not just taps. So first we're going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of each Ashi Garami. It's going to require different leg configurations to achieve breaks. Then we're going to talk about different grip options you have. And then 3, we're going to talk about if everything goes downhill, how you can turn it into a favorable outcome for yourself. So let's get started. So first is the Irimi Ashi Garami position, and it's also called single leg X. I'm not going to go too much into it. Marcelo Garcia made it really famous. It's easy to enter into, right? There's a lot of different positions to enter into it, and pretty much all you need is 2 feet on the inside of your opponent's body. Irimi Ashi Garami combined with the reap is really good for exposing the heel. And this is because when we're trying to expose the heel for an outside heel hook, we need the knee inside the line of the hip and toes. So if you draw a line from the hip down to the toes, you can see the knee is inside that line. This is what we're trying to achieve when we're trying to get a good catch on an outside heel hook. This would be good posture here. And then for an inside heel hook, you would want the opposite. You would want the knee on the outside of that line from hip to toe. The reap does a really good job of bringing the knee inside the line of the toe to hip. You can see the knee is well inside that line, and you get a good, nice catch on the heel. So the Irimi Ashi Garami is 1, easy to enter into, and 2, allows you to reap and get a good catch on the heel. But now the issue becomes you're ripping on the heel, you're ripping on it, and your opponent's just not tapping, right? And this is how people get hurt, right? You just rip on it until something pops. So we want to avoid this at all costs. The other issue is people just roll, and you end up rolling until you go out of bounds, right? So how we prevent this is if you look here, the Irimi Ashi Garami, again, is good for a catch on the heel. He has a really good catch on the heel here. But if you see, he's going to start twisting this way. His upper body's going to twist this way, and his knees are also pointing the same direction. So everything is going this way. So that allows his opponent to just keep rolling this way until they run out of space. So if you're trying to break someone, there's 2 options. Either you slow them down so they can't roll as fast as you're breaking, or you make your knees face the opposite direction that you're twisting. So in this scenario, if we're twisting to the right, our knees would need to be facing to the left to get that kind of tearing force. To catch the heel, we want to have the knee inside the line of the hip and toes for an outside heel hook. But then to break it, we want the knee facing out. So if the knee stays like this, that's when we get the rolls. If people just keep rolling, or they just stay there and we just rip on their heel and nothing happens until everything shatters. So when we catch, we want this. When we break, we want this. And you can see in this scenario, we still have the knee facing in, right? So that is just going to lead to them rolling until they run into the cage. So option 1 we have is to slow down their roll. So you can see here, Eddie Cummings is working, and his opponent is going to roll once, but then he's not going to be able to roll anymore, and then he taps. So the way Eddie likes to do this is this hook right here is actively pressing against ideally the back of their knee here, like right above the back of their knee, the longest end of the lever. And as his opponent rolls, he's trying to backstep this leg. So it's got to go through this leg of Eddie. So it's probably going to happen, right? His opponent's probably going to backstep, but he's going to backstep a lot slower than he intended to. And the whole time, Eddie's trying to break his leg. So this is how Eddie finished a lot of people. See a little slow motion here. But then watch how his opponent taps. It's just kind of like a, yeah, you got me kind of thing. It's not like a break, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve in this video is breaks, not just like, oh yeah, you got me, or like just tapping out of fear, right? We want to actually pose a threat of breaking our opponent's leg. So we get to do that when we start using different Ashi Garamis. And one we're going to talk about is outside Ashi. So that is where both your feet are on the outside hip here. And now you can see you're twisting the heel this way while your knees are pointing this way. It's counter force, right? That tearing effect is what you're looking for, and that's what you achieve in outside Ashigarami. So it's a really good position to break from. And you can see Eddie here, his opponent tries to roll, but he doesn't roll because he's in outside Ashi, and it's, yeah, prevents the roll. It keeps the knee facing out, not in, and that's what allows for breaking power. You could see here, he actually jumps to outside Ashi and then digs from there. But you could see his opponent kind of rolls with it, and his opponent tap, like that is the face of agony, right? It's much different than the Eddie Cummings tap, right? When the guy tapped to Eddie Cummings heel hook, it was just kind of like, yeah, you got me. That's like, you broke my knee. And that comes from the foot position and making their knee face out. So the downside to outside Ashi is when you start digging for the heel from there, you do have back exposure. So it's a good position to break from, but not necessarily a good position to dig from. And you can see Gordon Ryan here trying to dig for it from outside Ashi, and he almost gets his back taken, but he has a really good way of inverting underneath and then just coming up on a sweep. So he does a good job of making it a positive, even though he failed the heel hook. So pretty much all positions have some variety of lower body control and upper body control, right? So we're going to talk about different ways to grip the heel. So in this scenario, Gordon cycles through every grip. So he initially starts with a classic palm to palm grip here, and he's in outside Ashi. So he's in a good breaking position, but his opponent's doing a good job of hand fighting. So Gordon breaks the opponent's grip, and then this time when he comes back, he goes back to a stronger wrist to wrist grip with the same foot position. So now he's going to start ripping. It's not working. And it's not working because, as you can see, as he's yanking, the knee is drifting to the inside. He would like his opponent's knee to be forced to stay where it is. But as he's trying to rip it, his opponent's knee is able to go to the inside. So his leg position is not the best. But to make up for his lack of leg position, he's going to switch one more time to the tightest grip, this figure four grip here. And now he's going to get the tap despite the bad leg position. So you have different ways to configure your legs to take out slack on the legs, and you also have different ways to configure your arms to take out slack with your arms. So if your legs are a little loose, you might need to require a more like cinching grip with your arms to get the tap, right? Or to get the break. And when you combine really tight leg position with really tight arm position, that's when you get just devastating breaks. We'll see here, I just put pictures of this. But Gordon just does a really good job. He's in Irimi Ashi here, right? So he just enters into the position. Then he throws in that reap leg, right, to expose the heel. He hasn't yet wrapped the heel, but he's just exposing it at this point. Now, he figure fours his legs here, and he leaves this foot on the hamstring of his opponent. That acts as the same mechanism that Eddie Cummings used to slow the roll, except it's reinforced by this leg here. So once Gordon has really tight leg position, then he goes for the wrist to wrist grip on the heel, which is a pretty tight grip to take on the heel. So he has a really tight leg position, he has really tight upper body position, and as his opponent goes to roll, they talk about it that his opponent ended up breaking his knee here. So You can see this hook is slowing down the roll. Gordon, we just talked about, has a really tight grip on the heel, and his opponent's face just kind of says it all. It's his knee's pretty jacked at this point. So that is ideal, right? Tight legs and tight upper body. Now, if everything kind of falls apart, here are some just different paths that you can take. So if your opponent brings their other leg over to defend, you can always backstep into cross ashi. If you throw your leg over, you can also bring their foot from this side of your body over to the other side to go into inside tsukaku, but if they run away from that, you can take their back. If they spin faster than you are expecting them to spin, you can transfer into a knee bar. Or if they spin faster than you are expecting them to spin, you can just let them spin and go right into cross ashi. And then at the end of the day, you can always just come up on a sweep, right, and end up in top position. You have their leg, so you can just kind of lift their leg up and yeah, follow up on the sweep. So if you guys find this helpful, please like, please subscribe, and most importantly, please share the video. I really appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time.